Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel. In this video I am going to be sharing with you 6 reasons why it is so difficult for people to change negative paradigm. And now, what is paradigm? Paradigm is actually a subconscious programming that controls our habitual behavior. And you know that research already found out that 95% of all our activities, decisions, and action every day is actually habitual. That is to say, if you have had a negative programming that is in your subconscious mind, if you are making 5% decisions based on that programming, it therefore means that's responsible for the negative occurrences you have in your life. And do you know what? If it was formed negatively and then 95% of your actions, decisions, and the activities you do during the day are controlled by that subconscious programming, what happens to you? It means that the negative results you get, kind of income you are earning, the kind of health that you have, these things will be coming as a result of that programming. Now, why is it so difficult that people cannot change? Now, a lot of people want to earn more in their work, in the things that they do, and they do everything. They put all the effort that they need to put, but yet they can't seem to break even. What is responsible? It is because that subconscious programming that was already figured out there before you even knew anything is what's responsible. Why is it so difficult for you to change it? The first is for you to know that the subconscious mind developed. Psychology, or the personal human development, that actually divided the mind into the conscious and the subconscious. And when we talk about the subconscious, when you are dealing with the brain, now there are parts of the brain that are responsible for your voluntary actions, and those parts of the brain responsible for the voluntary action is actually the forebrain, and that is the neocortex, predominantly the prefrontal cortex, that's responsible for your critical actions, the thinking, and all those stuff. But the other parts of the brain, which is the midbrain and then the hindbrain, basically they are called the emotional brain. These are the parts responsible for the subconscious activities and involuntary activities that goes on in the body. So they come developed. It's actually meant to be a positive thing to us. Why? There are parts of your body that started working even before you were born. For instance, your heart started beating before you were born. Now, if that is the case, the subconscious mind, because it came developed, there were a lot of learnings that started happening that you were not aware of. So while a little child is with you, that child is already internalizing the things that goes on in his environment. Now, if the environment he grows up in it's a poor environment, an environment where lack and want is prevalent, that child already has started internalizing such mindset. So the amount of money that child can earn in life, if something is not done about it, will always be limited. Now, another thing is the relationship that the parents, or where he grew up from, the kind of relationship they had, those relationships were already being implanted in the subconscious mind. Why? Because the subconscious mind came developed and the child started learning all those things. Now, the second reason why it's very difficult is because your learning began before you knew how to learn. It is the conscious mind actually learned to learn. Now, before that conscious mind was developed, your subconscious mind already started learning. So learning started taking place before you even knew that you were learning. That's why it's difficult, because some of the learning that took place back then, you don't know about them. So learning started taking place. The things that were going around you started entering. The third reason why it's very difficult is because that learning actually used a process called repetition. And you see, the repetition was not done once, it was not done in a week, it was not done in a month. It took a minimum of 7 years for those things to keep repeating themselves, and it was repetition that planted it in. And because that repetition took place that way, for you to also change it, you have to master a techniques that will also use that same process to implant it. The fourth reason why it is so difficult to change, most of those programming were as a result of unplanned, significant emotional experiences. For instance, somebody can actually internalize the habit of fear, and the person is scared of maybe traveling as a result of a motor accident that that he or she was involved in, and because he saw a lot of people died in that accident, the emotion was internalized, and then it planted that subconscious pattern in the person. Because of that, the person internalizes it. Now, how do you change something that was planted as a result of significant unplanned emotional events? How do you change it? You cannot orchestrate another emotional event that will happen. So you discover that things that were very painful, things that happened to you unplanned, maybe when your parents sought for divorce, those were unplanned emotional events that happened. Or maybe you had people who died in the plane crash, or maybe natural disasters. Those things are not planned, and because they are not planned, it becomes very difficult to undo them. The fifth reason why it's difficult for some people to change their negative paradigm is because the subconscious mind does not sleep. Why you go to sleep? It is the conscious mind that is sleeping. The subconscious mind is awake. Imagine if your heart were to stop beating because you are sleeping. Imagine if you were to stop breathing because you are sleeping. Now, that is actually a benefit that it confers on us, but it is also a disadvantage because the subconscious mind is not sleeping. You can dream, and a lot of people have had dreams plant in their subconscious mind, things that eventually ruined their life. A lot of people saw that they went for an interview and they failed and they were rejected. In a dream, they have not gone for the interview yet, and because of that, they started anticipating rejection and failure in that interview, and they went there and they truly saw it. Some people have actually seen that they were dreaming and they died. In fact, I had a friend of mine who called me one time and said, Osas, I saw myself in the dream. I was in the coffee. I said, and the guy was shivering. The guy was, you could feel the fear from the voice. And then I had to shut him down and say, calm down, keep quiet. Now, I painted another picture immediately. I said, is it possible for you to be dead and at the same time you stand before the coffin where your dead body was laid, and then you are looking at that dead coffin and you are inside and you are seeing I said, is it possible? He said, no. I said, so why will you believe such a thing? Now, what I used quickly another word to counter that negative, dream that he had, for him to be able to come alive and then take, control of himself. Now, because the subconscious mind does not sleep, things happen while you are sleeping. That's the reason why it's difficult for a lot of people to change their negative paradigm. Then the last one is that the subconscious mind has unlimited memory. There are things that you have learned that you don't know, and you can keep learning. The subconscious mind will be swallowing it. And one thing you need to know is that the subconscious mind uses the memory that is found on all the cells of your body. The subconscious mind has programmed what your body should do when something happens, and that memory is stored there, so that even when you are sleeping, even when your conscious mind is not working, that part of the body will respond. And that is the reason why I will be giving you tips that you will use to actually change this programming. They are simple tools, and if you commit to using them, you actually see significant improvement in your life, so you can live life the way God has created you to live it. If this video communicates value to you, do not fail to click the like button and stay subscribed. Turn on the notification bell so you will always get my video anytime it's uploaded. Thank you for sticking with me, and I will see you in the next.